Hello, and welcome to part 3 of the Mount of Transformation. Today we are going to look at the next two Beatitudes, Matthew 5:4 and Matthew 5:5. So let's get started. Matthew 5:4 says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." What Jesus said here was so profound because he was not talking to the elite in society, he was talking to the commoner. The person who knew about mourning and grieving because they had experienced it in their own lives, just like we do today. But in our society now, grieving and mourning is seen as a negative, as a weak position. But here we see Jesus was saying that without us going through a grief or the grieving process, then he cannot come in and give us comfort. So we see that Jesus was turning our thinking around about grieving and mourning. If we invite God in our grieving, then now he will comfort us far better than we could do ourselves, that now he is our comforter. What we have been taught is a negative, weak position. We now see Jesus was making it a positive. He is giving us permission to feel sad and to grieve because when we do, we invite him into our situation. And he now comforts us beyond what we can do or anybody else can do. So the next beatitude is Matthew 5:5, and it says, "Blessed are the gentle," or some translations say meek, "for they will inherit the earth." What was Jesus referring to here? What does he mean by inherit the earth? This confused people because they lived in a society where rich people possessed land and held onto it through violence and opposition. So they were perplexed on how they were supposed to inherit the earth if they were going to be the nice and the meek people. But when we start to understand what Jesus meant by meek, then this starts to make sense. Who are the meek? They are the people who put their dependency and trust on God and not on themselves. We were taught that being meek was about being quiet and submissive, that we weren't supposed to boast or brag about ourselves, but just to stay humble. But that's not what he was saying here at all. He is saying, know that you have strengths, whether that is being smart, or whether that is having money, or whether that's being talented, whatever it is. But don't rely on your strengths to get things done. Instead, rely on God. Turn your strengths and your weaknesses over to him, because this will shift our thinking about ourselves to create a full dependency on him. Whether you have the abilities to do something or not, your full trust and reliance is on God and not on what you can or cannot do. So the point of this is if we surrender to God by putting our total dependency on him and not on our abilities, then God will bless us beyond anything that we can make happen for ourselves. So here we now see that the patterns with these Beatitudes. Jesus is wanting to transform our thinking to a dependency on him rather than taking care of ourselves. So thank you for joining me on part 3 of the Mount of Transformation. See you next time.